What's the motherfucking deal, Sauce Nation? If you're not familiar with this is Sauce Sports. Welcome to Sauce Sports first and foremost. But if you're not familiar with Sauce Sports is a Houston, Texas homer network. It means we're talking all sports, but only Houston. Man, hey, Sauce Nation, we got to do something very important. I want to make sure we get this early just in case, for people who come in late who might just be catching the video. We got to get spits to 1K. It's like 10 away. The link is in the description below. It's like right there. Should be the first link you see right after whatever I'm talking about. Let's get spits to 1K. 10 short. Let's make that happen tonight, man. I know it's fucking Friday. I know it's a bunch of good shit, so I'll make sure we want to get all the fuck yous and all that other shit off your chest. But I just had to make sure we made that announcement real quick. Let's get spits to 1K, man. The man has been grinding, working damn hard, putting in work. I think that's a milestone that needs to be reached tonight. But now let's get into winning, man. Again, if you're welcome to Sauce Sports, you're not familiar with Sauce Sports, Houston, Texas Homer Channel. All the goods, all the greats. So if you're not familiar, we talk all sports. I mean, everything. All sports, only Houston. We're talking Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, Dash, SaberCats, all of this stuff. Really, we better talk Texans and Rockets. Let's just be honest. Get a little bit of Astros when Hector comes through. So here's the deal, man. I want to talk about the Texans versus the Bills tonight. That's what we're going to be discussing primarily. Yes, the Rockets play tonight. I think the Astros have action tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Fuck the Chiefs. Yes, fuck the Chiefs. We'll see what Bill Belichick's working with. I believe they take on a pass this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. But again, man. So here's the deal. If you're not, well, I know some of you have already subscribed to Spits. If you haven't subscribed to Spits, man, do that. Do that. Let's get that man that 1K milestone, 1K, then many more on the way. But let's make that happen. But again, so before we talk about any of this shit, before we talk about any of the Texans, Bills, any of this conversation, man, we got to talk about the most important thing happening. And again, I'm a little thrown off. I had to try to fix the light, get some shit going there. The fucking lights went out, fucking flipped the light on in the Sauce Sports studio, bam, bulbs blow out. Anyway, so I had to run to the store, try to replace that, try to get that back in action. But I'm your host, Ed Honcho. If you're not familiar, if you're new to this, not true to this, Roundtable is not joining me this evening, doing some old school sauce, one deep. It is what it is. And we got to talk about the most important thing happening on the entire city of Houston and the entire conversation of Sauce Sports, and that is you. You know what I'm saying? Sauce Nation. If you're not familiar with the Sauce Nation roll call, that means, hey, man, I just want to show a little bit of love back to all of you who support, who show love, who hold down the sauce on a nightly basis, who hold down the sauce, make sure that, we drip and flavor all over the city. So we're going to see who we got joining us this evening. Again, if you are from the city of Houston, shout out your side with pride so I can send a little bit of love. If you're not from the city of Houston, then, let me know where you're at, and I'll send a little bit of digital love in your direction. And then we're going to get into some conversation. Make sure you follow on Instagram and on Twitter, Sauce Sports HTX, super easy to remember. Make sure you give a follow. That way you can stay updated, if there's any changes in the sauce scheduling or just any kind of little news or anything like that, it'll always be released on the social medias first because, YouTube is weird. So, again, let's see who we got shaking. T-Mac, Voodoo Child, one half of the greatest moderating couple in all the world. Jay Dizzle, what's the motherfucking deal? Fuck y'all, I'm talking about can't see your black ass. Can't see your ass, goddamn Jay Dizzle. Steve J, what's the motherfucking deal? Jason Ducey, David Pritchard, Eric Griffin, Lupe Frias. Turn on a candle. Eric Griffin, Bailey Rios, what's the motherfucking deal? Vincent Bryson, what's the motherfucking deal? Miss Voodoo C, the better half of the greatest moderating couple in the world. Outlaw, what's the motherfucking deal? Texas Outlaws 420, what's the motherfucking deal? Wise, what's the motherfucking deal? Vampire Lord, the nigga who could, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Make sure I ain't missing nobody. Texans boy, what's the motherfucking deal? Mello, what's the motherfucking deal? Cavalcade 45, Northside, already. Katie in the house, already. Monty G, west of the row, way Northside, all right. West of the death row, hold up. Thomas Hernandez, what's the motherfucking deal? Dewey Harris, always good to see you, man. Rosenberg in the motherfucking house. Dirty Bay, already holding it down. Dirty Bay, Bird City, whatever the other names. I've heard so many different names for that. But again, man, I hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday. A fabulous Friday. It is fucking Friday. I see some fuck Mahomes, fuck Odell, fuck the Bills, fuck Josh Allen, fuck LeBron. Oh, damn, well, what LeBron did. He just, but fuck him there. Shit, fuck him. We ain't even got to ask no questions. Fuck Josh Allen. Got a couple of those already. Guess they saw the fuck the Chiefs. And again, for those of y'all who just joined us, make sure you hit that link in the description, man. Show some love to Spitz. Let's get Spitz to that 1K, man. 10 away to 1K. Let's make that shit shake. Tevin Dempsey, what's the motherfucking deal? North Padre Island. What's going down in North Padre? I always hear about South Padre, but hey. It's 22nd birthday weekend. Well, happy birthday, Mello. You know, do it big. Do it real, real big. Fuck the Lakers. So here's the thing, man. Let's talk about it. Fuck your chicken strips. Well, I've been meat free for over a month. I've been on the vegetarian thing, so that I don't know if I'm offended or not. Here's the deal: is Braylon already named the Grand Wizard? I don't know. I think he's working on Grand Dragon status. I think that's why he hasn't been available. He's been putting in his work, doing his research. I gotta spin it up. So here's the deal, man. We're gonna talk about the Texans. We're gonna talk about the Bills matchup. We're going to discuss some very interesting things. I'm going to talk about why the most important thing to be concerned about is, of course, not Josh Allen, because he's not that good. He could be, but not right now. And then Jamal Benson, what's the motherfucking deal? No, I'm not a vegan. I'm a vegetarian. All right, it's a difference. I'm trying some new things, seeing how this whole thing works. And again, on the merch that I'm supposed to be getting to y'all, the business that I went with, they decided to do the design a little bit different than what I submitted. So we're gonna have to restructure that, but they should be getting that fixed for me. They decided to do an outline instead of a full, because they basically reversed the sauce where it was white. They basically made it black, I guess, to use less, I don't know what you call it, printer ink or whatever the fuck it is, but that's not the shake. That's not what I wanted. So, but trust me, I got y'all. We're gonna get that taken care of. But running by candlelight, I lit up a couple of candles, said a few prayers, got me some of those Jesus candles from the store. Well, the on the Mexican foods aisle, got me a couple of those, so we should be good. We should have some lucky sauce tonight. No. But let's talk about a couple of things, man. Let's take a look at this Bills offense. Let's take a look at compared to this Texans defense, and then we'll do a little bit of vice versa. And the thing is, the Bills offense is not very good. It's not good at all. I mean, the only highlights of that offense is their running game. Chris Ivory and, of course, LaShawn Shady. They said he beat a lady, but no proof, baby. McCoy. So the Texans did an excellent job of stopping one Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel, whatever. The Texans, the Cowboys cheerleader who also plays running back. They did a great job last week of stopping him, holding him to 54 yards. And so my thing is this. Shady's a damn good running back. Now, it brings a little bit of a different style than Zeke, but he can still be stopped. But again, they have a nice little tandem with Zeke and Chris Ivory, so that's definitely something that you have to be concerned about. Because one thing to get Zeke off the field, and then you have a much lesser talented running back coming in. But then, with Chris Ivory, he's been a solid guy. He's started in this league for a while. So he's somebody who can he can do some damage, so you have to be careful with him. But that's basically the biggest threat to that game. And so the Texans can have a second week of success slowing down the running game, which is really all you have to be concerned about, because there's really no threat of passing. Almost kind of a similar situation with Dallas is what you're going into. But again, this team is just, I would say, even less talented on the offensive side of the ball, than Dallas is. Again, currently, both teams, us and the Bills, have the same record. But here's the deal. These guys are putting up 221 yards a game, which is good for 31st in the league, which is awful. Josh Allen is not a guy, you know, everybody big arm, you know, he can make all the throws. If it ain't white, it ain't right. All that good stuff about Josh Allen that we're all quite familiar with. The guy could eventually develop into being, man, whoever told you they got Buffalo beating us 31-7 is smoking bad dope. It's not even like that shit been laced with cockroach spray. Because the guy is not very accurate. Overthrows guys a lot, and I think that's going to be an opportunity for this secondary, who I think they got a little hungry last game and see some opportunities, and I think that'll be an opportunity again this week for the secondary to thrive and get a couple of interceptions, kind of get that turnover ratio back in the right direction. I'd like to see Young Reed get him another one. I'd like to see KJ get one. I'd like to see Honey Badger get one. You know, I think the opportunity will be is what they have to do is be able to, it's going to have to kind of feed off the Texans offense. But again, we can't talk too much shit because the Texans offense has been started slow. And if this offense can jump out early and if the offense can jump out early and put some points on the board and you force them to have to throw the ball with Josh Allen, I think the Texans end up having a field day, a day on the field, a field day. So my thing is this, though. My thing is this: the Texans' offense is going to predicate what that defense is able to do. And their coach has already said that, you know, they really don't want to put a lot of pressure on Josh. You know, they know the limitations of a rookie quarterback, which is basically saying the dude's not that good and Peterman is probably worse. So at this point, you know, the thing is, you know, people talk about how they beat the Vikings and they talk about how, you know, they've had a couple of little wins here and there. That has absolutely nothing to do with that offense. I mean, look at the guy that talked all that shit about Cam, Kelvin Benjamin. But he has 8 receptions for 103 yards this season, which is awful. I mean, through what, 5 games now? That's showing you that he is definitely, you know, he put a lot of blame on fucking Cam, but then you see that, you know, he's in a worse situation. So sometimes, you know, instead of developing yourself and getting better at what you do and dealing with your situation, you know, if you leave one situation with certain intentions in your mind, you'll get put in a worse situation. But again, you know, it is what it is. So they're going to depend heavily on that run game, especially against this Texans team. They're going to hope that they can do something. Josh Allen will not, if he is, I'm going to be very upset, will not be able to beat this team with his arm. Now, I say this thinking about noodle arm luck, thinking about people say they beat it. Whoever people you talk to, Devontae, stop talking to them or stop listening to, because they talk about a good Titans offense. Now, the Titans should have won that game. Oh, buddy dropped that hoe in the end zone, but Mariota's not good. Let's be honest. He's got some speed. I mean, Mariota might be another Josh Allen, goddammit. I mean, that's the only threat that I meant to say, that the only threat that you're going to give from Josh Allen is he can work his legs a little bit. He has a little bit of mobility, and that's something that has kind of pestered the Texans a little bit. You know, you saw Dak get a few yards on that, and but what happens here is my big concern is that defense of the Bills. The defense of the Bills is what is a little bit more threatening, because they have some guys on that defense that can create turnovers. Right now, I think they're first in the league with 16 turnovers. Not 16 turnovers, sorry. Causing 16 fumbles. I don't know why I said but 16 turnovers. But they caused 16 fumbles, and I think they've recovered like 6 of them. And that was what happened with that Vikings game, is the Vikings just never really had an opportunity to get going. That Bills defense, I mean, smothered, I want to say damn near from the jump, and just really kept them out of rhythm. And so they really weren't able to gather themselves. They really weren't able to kind of get it together, and they were able to create a lot of turnovers. And that's kind of what happened with the Bills. The Bills were given more opportunities to score, as opposed to, you know, it going kind of a back and forth. Because honestly, Josh Allen is not going to move the ball for you. They gave him the ball in great field position, and they thrived off that. So, you know, that's definitely something that you have to take into consideration. But here's the thing. With a defense like that, this offensive line, they proved that they were capable for the most part against the Dallas Cowboys. And Dallas Cowboys, excuse me, they have some good defenders. You know, Jaden Smith is nice. He put a lot of pressure on Watson all game. You know, DeMarcus Lawrence is supposed to be a big name, but Kendall Lamb did a very solid job of handling him. What's the fucking the other guy that got Van Der Esch, or is that his name? I'm not sure I'm saying it right, but he's solid. So that's definitely, they have some guys on that defense that you have to be concerned about. And the Texans did a fairly decent job of, nullifying the pass rush for the most part. But what concerns me again when you're talking about the Texans offense at this point is Deshaun. And let's discuss that. Let's talk about that. And that's what we have to get to. That's a big factor as we get into talking about what happens with this Texans offense versus this offense versus defense versus this Bills defense. Deshaun is listed as questionable. And we saw the clips and we saw the stuff, little footage leaking out of practice, him throwing the ball. And I kind of found that a little strange because you don't really ever see a lot of, especially during the season, you don't really ever see a lot of footage coming out of practice, I almost wonder, is that a ploy, a deception, to have them preparing for Watson and end up, playing a lot of Whedon. That's a concern to me. And what I'm hoping is if Watson does play, that this Texan team can jump out early and, if we can apply some pressure. But again, you just never know with this defense. You just never know with this Texan team. You get really concerned about them putting that whole game together. That we can jump out early, secure a solid lead, and you don't have to see too much of Watson later in the game. Hopefully that, this O-line can get a push. We can utilize the run game. Hopefully Miller is feeling a bit better, and he wants to show that he's every bit as shady as McCoy. And so that's my kind of concern with that whole situation. Now, he says, Watson says he's going to play. Watson says he feels good. Of course he's going to say that. I mean, that's what you're going to say as a football player, as a man. You're not going to want anybody to think that you're weak or you are, afraid to go. I mean, but sometimes, again, because look at the Miller situation. They suited Miller out last game, but then didn't see a snap out of him. And so, I don't know if these Texans are trying to be crafty in their maneuvering or what, but it's just something to oh man, the Jags picking up Flowers. That's good news to me, in my opinion. I'm happy about that. I'm happy about the Jags picking up Flowers because that means that the Texans should be able to eat and should be able to thrive off of him. Good grief. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. But so I'm hoping that next week we get to see a lot of Flowers. I hope we get to pick some Flowers next week. So but the Jags picked him up, and that works for us, man. I have no complaints about that. But here's my deal. First and foremost, as we're still talking this, make sure you guys dip by StaySaucy.com. Get you some of that fresh Sauce Sports merch. If you want to be dripping flavor all over the city, get one for your old lady too, so she can sit pretty. Yeah, I just made it up off the top of my head, but it sounded good, right? It did sound good. I think it sounded good. If you don't like it, I'm going to forget you then. But no, check out StaySaucy.com. Get you some fresh Sauce Sports merch, man. I appreciate everybody who's been showing love, man. Especially Voodoo. Shout out to the Voodoos. They've been. They dripping sauce, and everybody else who has copped some merch, man. The Mr. J Dizzle, I know, has copped mugs, and everybody else, man. I don't mean to leave anybody out. Those are just the ones that come to mind. I just want to show a little bit of appreciation because, again, they have been holding down the Sauce Sports brand, and I don't ever want anybody to think I take anything for granted. Here's the deal, though. If you want to text the sauce line, text the sauce line. And I'll take a couple of texts as we're going through this, and then probably about 10 to 15 minutes I'll open up the sauce line for calls. But, again, looking at Deshaun Watson and that injury, man, it's a bit concerning because, what are the long-term ramifications of this situation? What are the long-term issues that we have to look at? Because, again, we get through this Bills team. And again, they're a decent defense. You get through the next week, you got the Jags, a very good defense. These are things that you have to be concerned with, You can't have this guy out here getting banged up. So I think it's going to take a bit of a team effort, as I was saying in the South Sports Facebook group, that I think it's going to take a bit of a team effort. I mean, it's going to take Bill O'Brien scheming properly to avoid, utilizing the strengths of that offensive line to keep Watson from getting hit. Those young tight ends, when he gets escapes out the pocket, they're going to have to be able to block, downfield to make sure he's not getting lit up, because that's what happened. Those 2 big hits he took in Dallas, they were both, I think one was on Akins, one was on Thomas. You know, those guys were out there missing blocks, and that was part of the problem. So those are kind of some of the reasons that Watson took some of those big hits. And, you know, again, we're dealing with this conversation now. T'Challa, what's the motherfucking deal? But here's the deal, though. The offensive line is bad, but they played their best game of the season, hands down. And why did they do that? Because they didn't do something stupid like having fucking Davenport at right tackle where he is not used to playing, where he's not comfortable playing. They put him back in position and put Lamb where I ain't even going to let it get to me, because I've talked so much shit about Lamb. And I have no problem. Eating crow, man. I have no problem eating crow. Lamb played a great game. He looked like a veteran lineman. You know, sometimes it just takes the right moment for things to click. And if Lamb could go out there and have great success against DeMarcus Lawrence, who is going to be one of your better pass rushers in the league, at one point was leading the league, and I think now it's JJ, TJ, and who is it? Is it not Poe? Fucking who is it? Geno? Is it Geno Akins, I think Geno Akins. Lamb, look, if Lamb goes all pro, boy, do I got to eat some crow. Because I know I talked some shit. That was a video or two. I'm sure I talked some shit. If he went all pro, I said I would do something off the wall. Old buddy from Cincinnati. But here's the deal, though. So, again, but I have no problem eating the crow, man. Lamb looked like a solid talent. Like, man, the piece we had was on the roster already. So, again, if he continues to play like that for the rest of this season, he deserves a starting spot, and I deserve the face full of feathers, because the man, I have no problem saying I was wrong. But, again, he has to do that shit consistently. You know, one game is good against one of the better passers. So, to me, though, that says with Lamb, there is no excuse. I said I run naked down business. Damn, did I say that? Damn it, Josh. Why you got to remember that shit? Look. I might do a block. They're going to be to pick me up. Look at it, Mr. fucking John. But here's the deal. The Lamb All-Pro is the company that started the whole Wink Garage thing. Damn, that's there. The garage has been thriving ever since. But here's the deal, man. Fucking Lamb has looked good. And if he can play with that type of consistency for the rest of the year, that takes a little bit of the worry that I have for this offensive line off. If Davenport still had some mistakes, gave up some pressures, but if he can play the way that he did at left tackle, I have no problem with this. I mean, I have to ease up on some of the excuses. So my thing is this, though. I got to do a show in the garage. My thing is this. If these guys can be consistent, again, like I say, Dallas is a solid team. They were a top 5 defense at that point. But then, we went to commence to putting up about 400 some change on them. Yeah, now we know exactly. I talk so much shit. I mean, that was one of my biggest things. Why was Lamb still on this roster? And I think a lot of people agreed. Another thing a lot of us talked about, why was Irvin on the roster? And I still have no problem with Irvin at this point, because he's shown consistency. He's shown consistency at the special teams as a returner. So I have no problem with that. I'll take consistency over deficiency. But we were talking about Deshaun and the injury, and I kind of want to get back to that for a second, because thinking long term, right now the Texans are in a position to kind of square this division away. If Fournette doesn't play, I think Dallas has, I think it's like a 60-40 chance of Dallas beating the Jags. I think it just depends on which quarterback, muffs it up worse, because Dak's not that great. I can't even think of Jack. Blake Bortles is not that great. And, my thing is, neither one of these guys are just exceptional. But, again, you got two solid, talented defenses. Good feats. I think whatever defense shows up better that game is going to win. And Zeke gives Dallas the upper hand with the better running back to take some of that pressure off of Dakota. So I'm not rooting for the Cowboys. I'm not rooting for the Jags. They could tie for all I give a damn. But we're right back in the mix. I'm not sure who are the Titans taking on this weekend. I don't recall, but whoever they are, again, it doesn't matter about the Colts. But the Texans kind of control their destiny, I feel like, at this point. At least they're a game out of it either way. And the Bills are beatable, man. The Bills are beatable. We're talking about a team right now who is offensively putting up 12.5 points a game. You're talking about 221 yards, 31st in the league is yards per game. Passing yards, 122 passing yards a game. That's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. So right now they play the Ravens. Okay, so they might be able to do that. He say you root for the Cowboys. Fucking damn play. Man, hey, and again, everybody who didn't hear earlier, if you're not subscribed to Spitz's channel, man, he's 10 away from 1K. Link is in the description box, man. Make sure you go show that man some love. Let's get him to 1K tonight. Let's make that happen. But yeah, Tennessee just has this fucking dumb luck, and for some reason they're in games that they really shouldn't be in. Like, honestly, in games that they really shouldn't be in. Exactly. And here's the deal. If we can get that all knotted up into where, the division is all basically tied up, I think we'd be in the same spot as the Jags, simply because I think we're both are the Jags 1-1 in the division or 0-1? Because I know they lost to the Titans, but they haven't played the Colts yet, have they? I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I know the Titans are 2-0, so they have that tiebreaker in the division. But then we have the Jags coming up. And when Tennessee comes to Houston, let's be realistic. All that tomfoolery, all that stupid shit, that dumb luck that fell, it won't happen. Like, it's going to be a blowout. Like, I mark my words, that's going to be a motherfucking blowout. I have no concerns about Tennessee coming to Houston. Now, I don't know why y'all keep calling the den line. Whoever keep calling the deadline during the day, I will never answer the den line during the day. So what about the trade deadline? Anyone available that can help? It's not going to cost a lot. No one immediately comes to mind, honestly. As far as, it depends, I guess, on what position you're talking. If you're thinking about O-line help, O-line is a commodity right now. And that's something that you're going to keep what you got. I mean, if a guy like Flowers is getting signed, and we know how bad he is, I don't think too many people are coming off of O-line or O-lineman. Pete Pat, is he really up on the trade blocks? I didn't know if that was speculation that people were making the other day, or if Arizona really has him up for offer. And I know some people talking about give up Merciless and some other things. I don't know about that, again, because I expect Merciless to come on and definitely show his hand. But again, 32nd in rushing, worst in the league in points scored, worst in the league in passing yards, second to last in yards overall, and 20th in rushing yards at just under 100 yards a game, 99.5 yards a game. And the thing about that is the Texans' defense holds people to about 95 yards a game. So they should be they should be able to do well, and I think actually do a little bit better than well. So I'm not as worried about Shady. Again, I just don't want them to be that fluke game that Josh Allen goes off, because sometimes the Texans can just do things that make you scratch your head, that make you wonder, But now in comparison, if you're looking at what we put up on offense, we're not the greatest on offense. Now, yards-wise, we're fourth in the league, putting up about 424 yards a game. Excuse me. I'm sorry, not yards overall. Passing yards, 7th in the league, 307 yards a game. Rushing yards, we're 10th, putting up 116 a game. But points, 19th. We're top 10 in every other department of the offense except for scoring, and that comes down to the red zone woes. And that's what the problem is. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy hurt Butler. Why you beef with Butler? But here's my thing. The Texans have to fix these issues. Bill O'Brien has to fix these issues, because what good is all of this offense when you're in the bottom half of the league when it comes to getting points? So my thing is this, man. Again, this Bills defense is not a slouch. They're not a sorry defense. They're definitely somebody you have to pay attention to. But Bill O'Brien's gonna have to figure it out, because when it gets in the red zone, I don't know what it is. We're gonna have to find a way to score or pick up yards in chunks. We're gonna have to find ways to get guys open, because the red zone is our nemesis right now. Nothing else. It was the O-line and their discipline for a while. It was, the play calling earlier in the season. I think the first 2 or 3 games, it was the play calling was quite questionable. But I think that problem got fixed in the Colts game, and since then we've seen better usage from Bill. It's just now it's that red zone issue because it's execution at this point. It's play calling. It's part of it's just having some heart, man. I mean, honestly, and Deshaun has the heart, but he might have too much heart. He might get so much heart he gets himself hurt. Now again, but you're looking at the Bills' defense and what they do. They limit guys to they're 12th in the league in stopping the run. They're 10th in the league at 235 passing yards a game. They're 17th in the league at giving up 24 points a game, which is about where we are. So my thing is this: if we can play how we normally play, then we should win this. You know what I mean? We should win this. But you're saying B.O.B. leads to make them, you got hate in your heart, let it out. Yeah, you got to let it out. Otherwise, it'll eat you up inside. B.O.B. lets the team play. O'Brien said he didn't know what the issue in the red zone is, not his job. That's right, it's not his job. I'm sure they can blame that on some statistician or something like that. I don't know. They'll find somebody to blame that shit on. But my deal is this, man. I almost feel very confident. I want to feel confident. Let me not say I feel very confident. I want to feel confident that the Texans go into their house because they're not going to Buffalo's coming here, which is an advantage because I think going there would be a different story. The weather's cool. It's going to be a nice weekend. It's not going to be blazing heat. It has been blazing heat all week. It's been cool. So they've been having some relatively easy, I won't say easy practices, but they've been shorts and helmets and things like that. So you hadn't been applying too much pressure on them. And again, like I said, I feel like it's execution. I don't think at this point, I think they want to win. I think they've gotten a taste of a couple of victories. I think, Watt and Clowney are going to put a lot of pressure on Allen. So far, the Texans have survived the bullshit roughing the passer penalties. And I'm knocking on wood, but I don't want to jinx it. But I have a feeling this game, it bites us in the ass. That's what I have a feeling that this game bites us in the ass. So I feel like there's going to be I'm not saying it's going to cost us a game. I'm not saying that it's going to fuck everything up for it, but I just have a feeling like this will be the game because now that Clowney is coming on, now that Watt is coming on, this will be the game that we see the Texans get their bullshit ass roughing the passer penalty. I just did. Look, I'm just saying. I knocked on wood, whatever that's supposed to do. Well, I just need a little Vicks Vapor Rub. Yeah, that's what my grandma would say, or my mom. She always says, put some Camphor-Phenique on it. You'll be all right. The Camphor-Phenique is what'll do it. Watt been talking to the rest of my Watt has been talking a lot of trash because that was y'all saw that whole come on the one that they put on TJ was bullshit. Who else got a bullshit one because he actually landed on his side. I want to say it was for the I want to say it was in the Eagles game. Michael Bennett, bullshit ass fucking roughing the passer. That dude literally landed on his side like there was nothing else that he could do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you had to pull a solo shot. Tenney said he wasn't feeling good. Nobody else had replied, so I just say fuck it, go one deep, do some old school flavor. Yeah, he gonna breathe on his helmet. He gonna get some grass on him, and they go call him motherfucking me roughing the passer. Man, Bill O'Brien mic'd up. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know about enthusiastic Bill O'Brien. Only shots I want to see of Bill O'Brien. I don't want to see him mic'd up anymore. I just want to see him on the sidelines with the glasses. Just look like you're doing something sophisticated. You know what I mean? That's all I want to see. But again, that's the thing too. Should we be offended? I mean, not offended, but should we be embarrassed? Let's talk about this Dallas game for a second. Then I'm gonna open up the sauce line here shortly. Should we be embarrassed by the fact that the Dallas Cowboys fans were every bit, if not more so, as loud as the Texans fans this last game. Because at first I was like, man, how stupid are these Texans fans being? You know, the fucking offense on the field, shut the fuck up. But then I realized, oh, damn, we are playing Dallas. And those motherfuckers were every bit as loud as the Texans fans were, if not louder, honestly. And so my deal was just like, what is really going on, man? Did you walk out 5 late? Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm saying. That shit was, and it wasn't even a late hit. Like he fucking, like, barely touched him. Ryan sold that shit a little bit. And that's what I was talking about the other day when we were in the den, when we were talking about is American football dying. You know, plays like that. Plays like the TJ Watt play, the plays like the Michael Bennett play, plays like the one that was early in the preseason. I mean, a lot of these fucking roughing the passer penalties, man, they're ruining the game. It's just almost like blatantly, well, all you got to do is flop and fuck it. We're going to give you extra 15 yards. We're going to give you extra yards. Like, it was crazy. Oh, man, let's talk about Odell for a second. Let's talk about the Odell versus Hopkins conversation for a second, and then we'll crank open the sauce line. Again, if y'all need the number right now, it's to text the sauce line. Then I'll open up the calls here in a second. The number is 832-639-DRIP. DRIP is 3747. Again, that's 832-639-DRIP, 3747. Yeah, he got to now he's giving him props. But my thing is, he's giving him props for shit that happened in 2015. Okay, it's 2018, but D-Hop been doing it ever since then. Like, but here's the deal: what you got to look at these guys with these shows, the Undisputeds, the First Takes, the First Things First, whatever the fuck these shows are. These people have researchers who get all this information for them. It's not like these guys just store all this knowledge in their heads, you know. And that's what I think a lot of people think, that these guys just recall and just store all this knowledge. They have researchers who break down the talking points for them to argue whatever side of the debate that they're going to be on for that day. And they kind of play a role in the debate. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that. But my thing is, they need to go get some unbiased ass researchers. Because these motherfuckers say these things like these facts are new to them. Texas fans have been saying this shit for years. Now it's D-Hop, he's doing this thing. But we've been saying this for years upon years upon years, since prior to fucking talking about 2015, you know. But yet, somehow, some way, it's new facts. It's people are just now. I saw a little poll on Twitter that people are just now starting to say, oh, DeAndre Hopkins is better. We've been saying this for years. Motherfucker comes in. You never hear no issue about him, never hear no holdout issue. Ain't doing coke off strippers' asses and whatever else you got going, leaking videos out. You know, smash the Iggy, dash the Iggy. You know what I'm saying? He gets extra props for that. You know, but again, may possibly wear purses in some suspect fashion from time to time. But outside of that, the dude is a dog. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like he don't get punked like Odell, who wears suspect shit and looks suspect and has the whole suspect hairstyle. You call him a fag on the field, he gets mad and fucking so. I mean, man, why are you that sensitive about why are you that sensitive about it? Why would that make you that mad? Like, you can't take somebody talking trash getting in your head. You like to talk, but you can't receive. I mean, what's the motherfucking deal? Odell is soft, man. And because people have made it they've been soft towards him. You know, when you're a star or you're talented, you know, oh, don't say that to him, don't do that to him. You know, people will level the playing field for you. D-Hop has been underrated since his days at Clemson. You know what I mean? And I remember watching D-Hop single-handedly destroy LSU on his own, by himself. But now they're starting to, well, look at all these quarterbacks he played with. It's only a thing when it can play into that national narrative. You know, the Giants aren't looking so good. You know, they talked about they was going to get Saquon. Eli, he's got rings. You know, Odell's coming back. He got paid. He's ready to ball out. It shows you that Odell is just not that good. Odell is not that good. Same thing with Antonio Brown. Whenever he had Vic, outside even this season, he's not looking as great. Not as good. The only time we saw the decline of DeAndre Hopkins was when you saw a guy who, I don't know how he still has a job in this league, in the number 17, which we're playing a number 17 this weekend, who reminds me a lot of that guy. But this guy who somehow still has a job, being one of the worst quarterbacks, the guy who couldn't beat out 2 rookies in Cleveland, you know, but somehow still has a job when he was the man leading the Texans for a season. That's the only time you saw a slight decline in DeAndre Hopkins' stats. And was it because, you know, people talk, well, look how many targets he gets. It has nothing to do with the targets, man. It talks about it's the quality of the quarterback throwing you the targets. Cole Beasley was chiming in on some shit apparently, talking about, you know, I guess some old shit said that he thought he was better than DeAndre Hopkins or something like that. Say, would I really be mad if Hopkins got caught doing coke off a stripper's ass? Yes. Because what if she has gas and she farts? Do coke off the tits, you know. I mean, use that little crease, you know. I think that'll keep everything in place a little bit better. Yeah, people who said I was better like a yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that should be on that fucking freezing cold take site and shit. Fucking again, what's up with the fucking Giants receivers beating up on inanimate objects? You know, we've seen Odell get beat up by the fan. We saw Sterling Shepard beating up the bench, last week? Odell fucking headbutting the fan or talking shit to the fan this week, like walking off early. They talking about, he left early, they'll get an IV. That's a fucking lie. You got to have exerted some energy to fucking need an IV. You have to be fucking tired, you know, sweat to need an IV. If you need an IV in the first half, what else have you been doing to get that damn dehydrated? So again, they'll make up fucking shit. They'll make up these lies to try to preserve whatever character these guys. The dude's suspect. His play is suspect. He made that one great catch and became overhyped ever since then. Last night he called himself trying to do some, I don't know what the fuck, wasn't getting no yak yardage. You know, I guess he was out there dancing, you know, dancing with the stars or whatever the fuck he was going to do. But the shit was trash. But here's my deal, okay? Give me a second here. We're gonna open up the sauce line. We're gonna we got some Rockets and Grizzly action. I got you. I'll jot it down. Make sure you get your sauce action. Give me a second, motherfucker. Let me put the damn right ear gear in there, and I got you. Hold on one second. All right, hold on. All right, what's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the sauce line this evening?
What's going on? This is the dead man up here.
Man up, what's the motherfucking deal, man? And for those of you who are fans of the Den, man, will be joining us in the Den this evening. But what's going down, man up?
Oh, man. You know I got to talk about that, that D-Hop conversation, man. Everybody's better than him.
Yeah.
I've always said, man, whether you like Eli Manning or not, the bottom line, the man got 2 Super Bowl rings. He's an okay quarterback, decent, whatever you want to face it. Then we want to talk about Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Well, he had Big Ben throwing him the ball, like it or not, another 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Exactly.
What kind of quarterback we got here in Houston that's been throwing him the ball? So that should answer your question right there. Especially like one season we had like 6 quarterbacks throwing him the ball. He still was like second in yards and receiving and touchdowns and all that. Come on, man.
Exactly. But yeah, people don't want to acknowledge that. You know, like I said, it's only cool now when they want to use it as a stat to make a story. You know, when you're a media darling, they gonna hide all that shit. You know, but now that he's fallen out of favor, now that he's you know, not the man that they expected him to be. Now they need to turn. The media needs to turn against him. Now, well, look at Hopkins over there. He did this and he did that, and you know. He's doing this now, so you know Odell can't do that. So you know there's that whole deal. All right.
And a lot of people don't realize that Odell catch that you were just talking about that he did, how he got famous. Hopkins did that before Odell did it.
Exactly, but
and coincidentally, it was against the Giants.
Exactly.
When he did it. So that's what I say, man. I agree with you 100%, man. Hots don't get no love for anything. So I just wanted to chime in on that, man. Then I want to say this here. I agree with you 100% too, as well as this. I watched that game with the Cowboys and the Texans.
Yeah.
Them Cowboy fans was in that stadium in Houston, loud as fuck. I was like, damn, where the Texan fans at? Come on, man, you in Houston. Where y'all at?
Exactly.
And it's like they did not show up for the game. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You would think that as much as Houston fans always want to, talk about Dallas, fuck the Cowboys and all that other stuff. I mean, this is the chance. This is the opportunity, Everything's falling in favor. It's the game of the night and, all these other things. And I felt like Dallas was louder than Houston. And that was slightly disappointing, That was slightly disappointing in that situation.
Yeah, they was there.
Steve said they was all out tailgating.
I just had to chime in on that, man.
All right, man. I appreciate the call. And we'll be checking you out later in the den. So make sure y'all subscribe to the den.
Right,
check out Man Up. Be joining this evening.
All right, hit you up later.
All right, cool. Appreciate it. Again, so yeah, I know some people were talking about the audio. That was on me, so I apologize about that. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Shit, this Wink, man. What's good to everybody in the chat? How y'all holding it down, man?
Already. What kind of sauce you want to drop on the line this evening, Wink?
Well, I pretty much just called in because my damn phone was dead, man. I ain't really know what the topic was tonight, but it's kind of going off of what Man Up was saying in terms of when we was watching that Dallas game. It did look kind of crazy that the noise was really affecting our offense. It was affecting just the way you could tell, like it got crunk when the defense was on because they kind of know how to, I think J.J. Watt knows how to control that side in terms of the noise and, in terms of the plays and the situations that was on the field. But it was kind of crazy to me that the fans didn't really participate in the game as they should have. And as far as this Bills game coming up, I really feel like the Texans got a game plan harder for them than they really do for Dallas. You know what I'm saying? Because their defense ain't no slouch, and they the type of team like they very similar to Tennessee, as in they can beat a lot of the harder teams in the league and can lose to teams they shouldn't lose to. There's quite a few teams around the league that actually has that stigma. And luckily, the Bills got to come see us because I honestly think if we had to go to Ralph Wilson, this would be a loss because I don't ever remember us beating the Bills at home, and I don't ever remember the Bills beating us in Houston. So I think the home field advantage is going to end up working in our favor, and the fact that J.J. Watt has feasted on rookie quarterbacks and Jadeveon Clowney is playing at an all-time high level right now, and he could honestly have like 5 or 6 sacks right now had he not whipped on a couple of the last like 2 to 3 games, but I'm glad to see him getting back to form, and honestly they should end up having a field day against this football team. But that's my call right now. If I got anything else, I'll call back in. Oh, and I need that 2 million sauce because I shared the video on Twitter, so make sure you check that link. I already tagged you.
I got you. I'm looking for it right now. I was putting in third the wrong way, but I got you. But, man, I appreciate the call. I have to agree with that, too.
What is it for the calls again?
Man, it's like $100K for the calls.
Yeah, about $100K. Yeah.
I got
you. So it's like 2.1. Yeah, I need this 2.1 ASAP.
That's a BET. I got you.
All right, big homie, man. Y'all hold it down.
Already. Man. But again, I definitely have to agree with that. Just like he was saying, it was kind of mentioned earlier, man. Like I think that I'd be more concerned if we had to go to play the Bills in their home as opposed to them coming here. And again, Josh Allen being a rookie, we've seen him make a lot of key rookie mistakes. I think this Texans defense is starting to prime. Honey Badger was talking. I'm not gonna tell. I said I'm working on myself, not being so judgmental. I'm trying to work on myself. That's why I'm doing the vegetarian thing. That's why I've been meditating and doing all the trying to minimize my anger and all that other good stuff. Because I was gonna say something about pancakes in that interview, but I'm not gonna do it. But I'm sure y'all know just as well as what I was gonna say. But anyway, But my thing is, Honey Badger was talking about, that he doesn't even feel like this defense is where it should be yet. You know what I mean? And so, and I agree, man. I definitely agree that I think there's still a few things that they can work on. But I think guys are starting to peak. It's not halfway through the season yet, so there's a lot of opportunity for these guys to really show what they're actually capable of. So I think that. Like I said, I think that we still have a lot more that we're going to see from the Texans. I think they're starting to get turnover hungry. Again, a guy like Josh Allen, he will come off the rock. He can come off the rock. But my thing is just that, again, this is the same Texas team. We were talking about Tennessee, but again, that was there. I think coming here, I think they're starting to get comfortable at home. But there's still little things that concern me. And one of those things that concern me is all this shit that we're talking about the Giants and how they looked last night and everything that came along with that. The Giants are 1-5 right now. 1-5 right now. All right, that's a bet, man. I appreciate you. 1-5 right now. But you know what makes me extremely sad? That one is the fucking Houston Texans. That fucks me up, man. That makes me extremely upset. What's the motherfucking deal we got calling in to the sauce line this evening?
Yeah, it's a week again, man. Before you really get delved off into the next point that you were going to get into, one thing I really wanted to talk about was like how well Kareem has played this season. Now I know, even a few of us from the round table wasn't really how him really staying, but as a safety, I think it was pretty much a clear consensus that we all felt that was the necessary move for where he's at physically in his career. And, luckily we haven't really went up against any true slot receivers who could really take advantage of him when he has had to play in the slot. And I think that's what helped aided him in his process, because some of his numbers, are crazy. Like he's like one, and like he's like a top DB in the league right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's like in so many different categories. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you've seen, the little graphic and everything that I don't even think it was PFF. I think it was somebody else. It might have been like Texas PR or something like that. And they were really talking about the numbers in terms of like where he was in run stops and among DBs, and he was like number one. J-Jo is like 10th all the time now in passes defense. So that pretty much made him, throughout his tenure, that, him being in company, they're pretty much saying like Jonathan Joseph has been a lockdown corner. I know his players dipped off the last couple of years. Last year, and you can probably say along the lines of this year, but I honestly believe that's because of schematics, along with other things. Him being a little longer in the tooth and being in age and not playing in the best position, being in bump and run situations, I think, worsens his situation and makes him look, bad on the field. But, I wanted to hear your opinion as far as how you feel about how Kareem is playing, and how do you feel about how he's being viewed by the league?
Okay. Man, that's some good one, man, because that's the thing, man. Like, especially, Kareem has had that stigma around here for so long as, I know in the first couple of seasons, they ain't even comfortable to call him Toast. And, I think for years people have been saying, hey, Kareem should probably play safety. Hey, they should take a look at Kareem playing safety. For some reason, that move was never made. I don't know if they felt like they made that move this year in desperation, or maybe they finally saw some things. But that was probably the smartest thing that the Texans have done all season, because the stats, I was actually surprised. I know what you're talking about, the graphic that was going around. I was actually pretty surprised too, because he's ranked as a top DB in several categories, and that's not something that we're used to seeing from Kareem. We look at him as around here, the stigma prior to this season was Kareem was kind of bummy. You would see fans going at Kareem, talking shit. Now, all them motherfuckers, I'm sure they didn't deleted all their old tweets and done all that other shit, because a lot of people would take Kareem for granted and just, like he was just a bum. And we kind of saw him that way. Let's be honest, okay, hey, against the Jags, he thrives. He'll motherfucking me get some picks against the Jags. He'll motherfucking me make some plays against Blake Bortles. You know, he'll get you a little something here or there. He'll force a fumble. You know what I'm saying? He'll hit a motherfucker. But this year, it just seems like his coverage has improved. I mean, being able to keep everything in front of him has been a significant benefit for him. And then again, you know, the fact that he's been versatile, not just at safety, but at corner. I don't know if it's a confidence booster. I don't know what exactly it is, but then again, it's also a contract year, if I'm not mistaken. And when you come to talking money, that's always definitely something that you have to consider, because hey, you put it on display for the rest of the league. So that's definitely something you have to consider when you're looking at Kareem Jackson. But again, I don't think anybody can sit here and say Kareem is trash. And all the people who've been talking all that shit about him, again, they didn't shut off their Twitter accounts. They didn't go on into hiding and shit. They deleting old tweets and all that other good shit. And I think that you got to look at that, because Kareem Jackson, some of those hits that did, I see you say the knee killer, some of those hits that he did put on some of those guys end up helping, because, you know, he stumbled up a couple of guys, had some people kind of limpy and gimpy. You know what I'm saying? I want to say, was it him that had the hit that had Dak looking like he was straddling a horse and shit, walking off on the sideline? But I mean, it's just a lot of things that you have to consider. When do you got? I think he's got two different accounts on yours, because I just put the sauce in your whatchamacallit, so we might have two different accounts for yours, because I think it's your old one that's showing up on this one. Let me see something here, because I just put some sauce in your account. But again, though, what I'm saying is just that he said they should have been. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. He should have been a fucking safety. I mean, for quite some time. So that's what I probably did, because I think the other one, I don't know if it's showing up. Let's see. But let me try this. But again, like I say, the thing about that, man, is I'm glad to have it. Because there was a point that we thought, Kareem, he's going to be a liability. He's going to be a problem. I mean, honestly, if you look at years past, you question it. And again, so I sit here and I wonder, okay, there it is. Oh, okay. I see why. There we go. But in years past, oh, shit. We've definitely had a negative view of Kareem. What's the motherfucking deal? Who they have calling in on the sauce line this evening? Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Who we have calling on the sauce line this evening?
Oh, okay, my bad. This is boy Man Up again. Just give me another holler.
Already. What you want to drip on the sauce line, Man Up?
You know I gotta drip some more sauce, man. Hey, I gotta agree with you there, man. I know you just said this a few minutes ago, but I was listening to you in my car while I'm trying to give me something to eat. And I was like, he right, can't talk crap about the Giants. That one win was the crazy thing is a good feeling, man. But I will say this here, man. I think we got some weird momentum going that we're going to handle the Bills. Now, I'm not going to either win, no. So, what we're going to end up doing, I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to say Watson throw at least 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
Not run. If he plays, I'm putting it like that. I don't know if he's, how he's going to do, but if he plays and he plays healthy, at least 3 touchdowns is what he's throwing. Not running, but throwing. 3 touchdowns.
Okay. That's a bold prediction again, because he hasn't had that Watson-esque game that we are expecting. I mean, like I say, we've been getting end zone to end zone, but then when we get in that red zone, about that 10 to 15 yard mark, that's when things start to seem to collapse. And so we haven't seen that. Some of those exceptional plays that, we saw last year. And I don't think it's necessarily that teams have schemed for them, because people say, oh, they schemed and they figured it out. I don't think it's that. Again, like I say, I think it's just a collection of all the problems that the Texans are having at once. And I think it's a little bit of execution. It's a little bit of play calling. And it's a little bit of heart out there. Watson has the heart, but I think some of these other guys, they need to step it up a bit, man. You see your quarterback willing to go all out. I'm gonna learn how to speak that English. Go all out and give it what it takes to try to get in that end zone. You got to want to get in there just as bad. I think the previous few weeks prior to the Dallas game, I think Rankin was a major liability. Rankin himself, I don't think people realize how much damage Rankin did with his poor performance being a left tackle and playing as atrociously as he did. I don't think people really realize that. Like, you could talk about play calling, but I'd be more mad at Bill O'Brien for the handling of the position by letting Rankin be your starting LT. Like, I don't know if it's Bill O'Brien's call. I don't know if that's Devlin's call, but whoever made that decision, they definitely need to do some self-reevaluation. And so my thing is, because he caused so much damage. I mean, you just look at, because again, Rankin is the reason Lamar Miller was hurt. And again, I'm not saying Blue did a bad job, but Miller could have been an asset this game. So he wasn't available because of Rankin whiffing on that block. How many times has Deshaun Watson been hit? 54 times this year. You know, majority of that is because Rankin whiffing, missing on blocks, turning around, looking like he got caught in the old school Tony Parker tornado. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't get across to put him in a blender or some shit. Like, it's just like, come on, the dude is young. So I'm not gonna just pull the rug from under him. But whoever was making that decision, saying, okay, well, let's move Davenport from where he's been comfortable in hopes that the rookie will be good. Like, I don't see it. I can't understand that shit. Like, I can't justify, I can't validate any of that. So, I mean, there's that, you know. But I definitely agree with you, man. I think that the Texans do have a weird momentum going, and I'm expecting them to get the win because the Bills are a very beatable team. Again, that offense is terrible, but that defense is definitely very respectable, and so that's going to be a thing. So if he does put up 3, it's going to be a very interesting sight to see. And speaking of that, because you're going to be going up against, because I didn't even really talk about the Bills. I meant to talk about that, because you got to think about, like, Tremaine Edmonds. You know what I'm saying? You got Jerry Hughes. You got what's old buddy's name? I forgot old buddy's name. I forgot old buddy. White. I ain't even Tre'Davious. We're just going to call him Trey. But again, so he's going to have it's going to be some nice stiff competition on that other side of the ball that he's going to definitely have to deal with. And yeah, Tre'Davious White. It's going to be some stiff competition on that Bills side of the ball. And the thing about the Bills is, here's one of the issues with the Texans. The way the Texans hold the ball, like, you know, you saw it a little bit with D-Hop. You see it a little bit with Watson. I don't know if it's a Clemson thing. You know, when they get into that open space, they just kind of have that one hand on the ball, and they just really looking, you know, to make yards, to make guys miss, to, you know, maybe that gives them leverage in their ability to shake dudes or whatever else it may be. But they gotta have better control on the ball, because the Bills will create fumbles. They will create fumbles, and that's what keeps them in these games. That's what kept them in the Vikings game. That's what gave them the opportunity to whoop the shit out the Vikings, because they were able to get those turnovers, able to cause those fumbles. That's what kept them in the game against the Titans, like the first or second play of the game against the Titans, causing the turnovers. So that's what puts them in a good position. That defense is looking to knock the ball out, and they're looking to recover, and they're looking to give their offense good field position, because they know that Allen's not capable of going 80 yards, 90 yards if necessary. You know, he's just not that guy. He might get lucky on a play here or there, but he's not that guy. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of guys, they said, have been locked down, and you see what Hop does to him. You know what I mean? Shit. Well, Buddy was supposed to be locked down, shut down guy. You know, and now, don't get me wrong, you know, Hop found a little few zones, and he said, you know, he knows how to sit down in them and then turn it into some yak. But you know, they were talking about Byron Jones was going to shut him down. Byron Jones had a good play, but that was more on him making a play on the ball than necessarily making a play on Hop, you know. So, yeah, look, he's the reason. Like, and that's what I'm saying. He's the reason for the decline of Revis. Like, when Hopkins went and bought real estate on Revis Island for the low, for real cheap, you know what I'm saying? That was the decline of Revis. Like, after that, it was pretty much over with, man. Like I say, so, you know, it is what it is. You know, people are entitled to feel what they want to think. Shannon, you know, he's new to this. He ain't been on he don't want him acting like he's been down with D-Hop since day one and all that other shit. You know, but again, you know, people will make it look like whatever in national media. You can't trust them. But it is what it is. But here's the deal, man. We're going to get ready to wind some things down. I know it got started a little bit late, and but I got to take care of a couple of things before we get into the den here. But again, man, hey, if you're not following on social media, on Instagram and Twitter, make sure you follow Sauce Sports HTX. Hey, if you are not, again, say this one more time, if you're not subscribed to Spitz, the definition of throw, Go and show his channel some love. Talking Texas, gives great Texas breakdown, analysis, commentary, multiple videos a week, man. The man is 10 away from 1K. Let's help that man reach that milestone tonight, man. Let's make that happen. Go ahead. The link is in the description. So right after, you know, the part where I talk about what we talk about every evening, you know, I do actually change up the description. The link is right there. It says, let's get Spitz to 1K. Man, hit that link. Hit that sub button, man. You won't regret it. You will appreciate it. You can thank me later for that if you're not already subscribed. Man, let's show that man some love. Let's get him to 1K, man. He's been putting in a lot of work. Let's get that man across that barrier, you know, so that he can get many thousand more. I want to say shout out to everybody. Shout out to the round table, and again, everybody else's links are in the description below. So no excuses after you sub to Spitz channel. You know, go back to that description, scroll down a little bit further. You know what I'm saying? And make sure you go show love to the rest of the round table. Make sure you slide by StaySaucy.com, man. If you have not, just go take a glimpse. Just go take a look. There's a variety of stuff. It's not just T-shirts. You know, it's plenty of items. You got mugs, pillows, towel. You know, look, this is what you need to do. Go to StaySaucy.com. Go grab you one of them Stay Saucy pillows. So that way, when you're at the house, you know, you want to kick back and relax and watch the game. You know what I'm saying? You can throw your head on the throw pillow. You know, just sit back and enjoy your Texans. Or while you watching Netflix or whatever else, but you know, you can drip a little sauce all the time. Get you one of them pillows, man. Get your towel. Look, don't get the towel to wash your ass with though. That's I don't know about all that. Look, just get it as a decorative piece. You know what I mean? Don't get the towel to wash your ass with. So I don't know how I feel about that. But I'm just fucking with you, man. You buy the towel, it's yours. You do whatever the fuck you want to do with that shit, man. But again, there's plenty of merch. You know, Stay Saucy, all that good shit, man. Make sure you check that out for the freshest Sauce Sports merchandise. Appreciate everybody who called in. Shout out to Wink. Shout out to Man Up. Appreciate the text that came in. But we're going to be back at it tomorrow. We'll have some special Saturday sauce because I know I missed yesterday. Had a little business I was taking care of, and it actually ran a little bit long. So I did not intentionally want to miss yesterday, but the timing was a little bit off, so I was unable to get that done. But, man, before we sign out, I got to just say one more thing, and that is I don't know if I say it too much or I don't say it enough, but I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And I want y'all to know that. Again, just tuning in, showing love, just fucking with the flavor, man. And look, all I ask y'all is, hey, share the flavor. Just, you know, if you know a friend, a family, somebody you know is a Texans fan, man, introduce them to the sauce. That's all I'm asking. Let's grow this thing. Let's take this thing to the next level. Like I say, we got a goal. We got, you know, dreams and aspirations of taking this thing, doing something big for the city. Again, if you're still a Facebook user, I know everybody don't use Facebook. Some of them kids, youngsters, be y'all some old heads. We don't use Facebook. It's all about that Snapchat. Fuck Snapchat. I don't use that shit. I don't even know what that shit about. But go ahead and check out the Sauce Sports Facebook group link and the Sauce Sports Facebook page. Make sure you like those, man. I greatly appreciate that. But, man, hey, I appreciate y'all no matter what. If you do or you don't, you know, it doesn't matter. As long as you show up and you show love, even if you're hating, hit that like button, all that other good stuff, man. I appreciate y'all. But with that being said, y'all the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. But most of all, y'all stay saucy. I'm your boy at Honcho, man. I'm going to catch y'all tomorrow. Same sauce time, same sauce channel. But I'm out.